was managers, schedulers, less Green Group is less than
Oh, okay.
I did 2 times like that.
Did you ask about me? Oh, yeah, he said he would. Yeah, she's not getting along well. CJ and I get along well too.
Yes.
Should I expose for the trip?
Absolutely. I should, I would suggest.
We drove there. How about you? You take the train?
I think I'm just a staffer now. He's so leisurely. We're all like, just like, oh, schedule like Olivier. It's Olivier
This
time.
never starts on time.
It
It's still
never
gonna be
does.
20 minutes.
No, it's not.
Save your knees.
No, it's not.
Go, who's walked out?
I have
3
such
people?
great news. They're gonna last forever. Very much.
Well, save your head. How are you feeling?
Oh, it's so God, it's like the body is a remarkable thing.
Oh, is that right? Oh, cool. Well, your body has always been remarkable. Come on.
Oh. Of course, these guys are running. You know that, right? Because George is watching it, wasn't he? Oh, really?
I guess I'm first.
He's unplugged.
Anybody else? Good morning, everybody. The House continues to focus its attention on the American people's priorities. And whether it's protecting life, whether it's dealing with the problems of Obamacare, or keeping the government open, we're here to do the people's work. And there's a lot on our plate this week. In addition to that, the idea that the president should lift on Iran and provide Iran with about $100 billion of their assets locked up in Western banks without first paying the victims of Iranian terrorism. And there are about $43 billion of judgments against Iran for U.S. citizens who've been slaughtered by the Iranians. And I'm sure Mr. Meehan will tell you all about his bill.
Now, there's a lot of excitement and chatter about this week. We've got our work to do. Today, we'll have Duffy's bill on the floor. Duffy's bill, Women's Public Health and Safety Act, gives flexibility to states, especially when it comes to Medicaid funding and others, on their choices of where to spend it. Also, Meehan has his bill, and I don't want to bring it up because I want him to be able to talk about it. But this is a fundamentally changing bill. When you want to talk about the funding going around to fund terrorism and the justice of those who have been murdered, this can change the direction of where we go. And when we'll have the CR on the floor this week as well.
I want to first talk about Sean Duffy's bill. States like my state, Louisiana, would like the opportunity to cancel contracts with abortion providers under Medicaid and shift those dollars to health care providing facilities that do not perform abortion. Every state that wants to have that opportunity should be able to cancel those contracts and redirect the money. And the Duffy bill allows that to happen. I think it's a very important bill when you talk about health care and also stopping taxpayer funding of abortion. And then as far as Pat Meehan's bill, I think it's critically important that we put American victims of Iranian terror first when it comes to the dollars that the president's considering turning over to Iran, over $100 billion of money that's frozen. Shouldn't the American victims of Iranian terror have the first opportunity to get that money that they rightfully have won in court settlements before the president turns that money over to the largest state sponsor of terror?
Well, we've had a few days now to process Speaker Boehner's resignation. And for me, I just want to say it's been a privilege to work alongside him. And he's been the right man at the right time to be leading this conference. And when you look at his tenure as the Speaker of this House, he's led us to have the largest majority in over 80 years. We've cut spending by over $2 trillion, enacted the first major entitlement reform in nearly 20 years, and protected 99% of Americans from a permanent tax increase. Now, since this difficult announcement on Friday, we've all had the time just to search our hearts, and I am confident that we're going to come out even more united and more effective in this cause that has caused us to want to serve in Congress, and it's an honor to do so. Certainly, people all across this country want to see Congress getting things done. They want to see us focused on issues that are going to make their lives better. And we met this morning, and we will be meeting again this afternoon as Republicans to discuss our priorities and how we're going to proceed. America's future depends on us offering positive solutions, working together so that America's future will be strong.
Hi, good morning. I want to express my deep appreciation to my colleagues in the conference who have joined together so strongly to support the Justice for the Iranian Victims, the Justice for Victims of Iranian Terror Act. This has its derivation in a background I had as a prosecutor when I saw how important it was for victims to have a moment in which they see some measure of justice for the sufferings that they have experienced. There are some $43.5 billion of judgments which have been rendered under American law for victims of acts of Iranian terror. There's more than 80 lawsuits that have been successfully prosecuted through the courts. Despite this, not 1 cent has been paid by Iran towards these victims. This is an opportunity to change that dynamic. What will happen if we continue on the course that's currently under matter, more than $100 billion will be turned to Iran, and that will be the very corpus that could be able to be used by those victims to see some resolution. I must also say that there's a matter of precedent here that ought not be underestimated. When Libya was in a situation in which sanctions were released more than a decade ago, at that time as well, the victims of Lockerbie and others were compensated before those dollars that were under sanctions were returned to Libya. In this particular case, that opportunity was never pursued. So very simply, what this legislation will do would require that the judgments that have been legally rendered be paid to Iran before any sanctions relief money is returned to Iran, which they can use for a number of purposes, including in the minds of many of us, fomenting further terror around the world. There's at least 80 sponsors of this bill and almost unanimous consent among my colleagues on this side of the aisle. I suspect that it will be introduced in the next day or two on the Senate side as well, and I hope that we will receive strong support for the bill. Thank you.
I just can't wait.
Mr. Speaker, dealing with the debt limit issue is one of the things you'd like to clear away so as to not burden your successor, or is that simply too difficult?
We'll have to see. There's a number of issues that we're going to try to deal with over the coming month, but I'm not. change my decision-making process in any way. Just a matter of if there's a way to get some things done, so I don't burden my successor. I'm going to get it finished.
Speaker Boehner, on that point, you said you didn't want to leave your elected successor, Mr. McCarthy, a dirty barn. However, conservative groups outside are now saying, if you stand with Boehner, we're going to come after you. Are you going to put Mr. Scalise, Mr. McCarthy in a tough spot if you try to move these big-ticket items in the last month?
We're going to take this one day at a time and do what we can on behalf of the American people. And I'm not going to change my process at all. I spend every day trying to do the right things for the right reasons, and I'm not going to be any different tomorrow than I am today. I'm not worried at all.
On the CR that's coming up today, that breaks the domestic side of the spending caps by about $3 billion. Are you concerned that doing that sets a precedent for a final deal to also break those caps?
No, not at all. It's been a bipartisan agreement, and we'll take care of it today. Yes, sir.
Any thoughts, Mr. Speaker, on the timing of the leadership election, and if not, any broad considerations within the conference about when that would be held?
No, I told the members this morning I have not decided when the leadership elections will occur. I asked for their input, and I got a few pieces of advice, but I would hope to make an announcement the next day or two about that.
Mr. McCarthy, Mr. McCarthy, if you could,
No, I'm calling on him.
would you like it to be sooner? I mean, what's your, you don't care?
It's up to the members, it's not up to me, but it's like any decision I make. I listen to my colleagues, and I'm listening to them, and I would hope to make a decision soon. Yes, sir.
Mr. McCarthy, some of the conservatives, the skeptics, are concerned that if you're a speaker, it would be much different than Mr. Boehner's speakership. How would you be different as speaker compared to Mr. Boehner?
Just be careful, I'm standing right here.
I won't be as tan. Look, John is a very good and decent man. This is a man that came into this office, and if you looked at those that maybe want to fight, how did the House Bank get shut down? John Boehner's the last one standing who shut it down. He then fought to get his majority, went into leadership, left, became a committee chairman, then came back and fought for another majority. He's one of the few standing that's won 2 majorities. But everybody is different. There's a generational difference about us as well. Look. I'm a little younger. No. But look, I know what's going on across the country. And I'm concerned about what we hear. A lot of people in Washington concerned about power and institutions. I'm concerned about making a difference in everybody's lives. We want to make sure that we're closer to the people, that they feel this is their government, they're in charge, and we serve them. Now, that's not easy, and it won't change overnight, but that's our mission.
All right, thanks, everybody.